Hi, everyone. Welcome to New Answers Podcast, Nurturing Spirituality. I'm Gwendolyn Flynn, Gwen, and we're talking today about affirmative prayer. And by we, I mean my colleague, Tiffany Lee. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
So, affirmative prayer is the focus of our conversation today. Um, And I guess we can start by talking about, exactly what that is. Probably those of us who are in this spirituality, this nurturing, and has been uh, a part of it for a while, may have some idea about it. But for those who may be new to this, maybe we need to define what it is we're talking about. And, I don't have a theological theologian kind of definition of affirmative prayer. I know you're in classes studying to be a licensed spiritual practitioner, so you may have that. But from my point of view, affirmative prayer is, first of all, it is a chance for us to connect with the spirit and we are talking to the spirit rather than the spirit talking to us, which is for me meditation. And we're talking to the spirit from a point of view of helping us to see what is real, what is, um, you know, I was going to say not of this world, but I mean, it is of this world, but being able to see what's going on from the perspective of God consciousness and knowing that maybe what appears to be happening is actually I shouldn't even characterize it in that way. But anyway, let me continue that thought. I keep interrupting myself. What appears to be happening isn't really happening. It's like we have to change our perspective on what's going on. I don't know if anybody could follow that, but maybe you can. So how would you define affirmative prayer?
Um, I'm actually gonna read you what came up on AI. The definition,
Okay.
right? Affirmative prayer is a proactive, positive spiritual practice focusing on affirming desired outcomes as already accomplished rather than pleading or begging for help. So,
Absolutely.
right. So the difference would be um aligning with your level of consciousness. So if when you're in the lower level of consciousness, like with the to me phase, you're praying like, God save me, God do this for me, everything's to me, right?
Yeah.
Um, Affirmative prayer is higher consciousness. It's going into, there's stages for it, you know, and each stage is really important to acknowledge. It's kind of like with Science of Mind, Ernie basically created a formula that has stages that are very specific to it.
And this is Ernest Holmes, you're calling Ernie.
Ernie. Yeah, we call him Ernie in class. And I just realized that like, oh yeah, Ernest Holmes. You know why? His energy just comes through everything. Where you're in class, when you're in
Oh,
his energy comes through that you eventually feel very personal with him, even though he's died like what 50 years ago. So,
yeah, it sounds like
so
you're cut buddies with him,
yeah,
Ernie.
yeah. And like when when I was new in the classes and I'd hear the teachers, other people be like, Ernie said da da da, and I'd be like, the same. Who's
Who's
Ernie?
Ernie?
Now
Yeah,
I'm Ernie.
that's funny.
Yeah. So
Fantastic.
um the importance of affirmative prayer is because if you get aligned properly, your mental state, then it's gonna come true. It's gonna happen. Period. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, so it's acknowledging what you know, and it's all based on whatever consciousness you are at is what you know, which is why, and I'll go
mm,
over the steps in a minute, but that's why it works. And that's why also it's really important to use the right words that match your mental equivalents, meaning match what you believe.
Ah, that is key. And I know I was going to say something about it being that words matter. Our words matter and our thoughts, our consciousness matters, right? Throughout all of this, but certainly when you're talking about affirmative prayer.
Right.
And yeah, and it's not about begging and beseeching and, please, please, please kind of, it's not that at all. So
No,
I hope people got that from my explanation, but yours is much more cogent and cohesive in terms of
that's
your definition of affirmative prayer.
partly because I read it. I Googled it and read it, so I didn't have to think about it. And I do have my paperwork in front of me because I'm
Yeah,
in the class. I just had class yesterday where we have
yeah.
to, learn as a practitioner, to master the science behind affirmative prayer. Because before doctors became really popular,
Mhm.
you went to a spiritual practitioner for all your illnesses, all your problems.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that I didn't even, I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, I can see how that would happen if there's no other person that you can go to. Yeah.
right. So, I
Well,
mean, we
that
could say that they had to disqualify spirituality in order to make money in the medical system.
as a
Basically,
position. Yeah, yeah.
basically, it
Hmm.
happened, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Because
can see that happening even now.
yeah. So, um, so the first
So
part of the affirmative prayer,
I
what
was going to say, what are the steps? So you're going to start telling us about this. Okay.
yeah. So the first part, the most important part is knowing who God is and recognizing God. God being, in our philosophy, in our belief, we believe that God is everything and everyone. So
Hmm.
there's the back of everything. Everything started from this energy, this source, right? That's why we
Yes.
call it source. We don't call it a man in the sky. There's an energy source.
Yes.
This energetic source created something. It was basically nothing, created something. And from something created more things and more things to keep creating to where we are now. We have our solar system, we have the galaxies, all the way down to the earth, to us, our dogs, rocks, sand on the ground. And if you can follow me, this all comes from that one source, one source. And that's why um, we say all is one, because technically all is one. It's proven when you break it down, everything, all matter, whether it be humans, living matter, or this cell phone, when it's broken down, it comes to the exact same elements, the
Mm.
exact same elements, because it all came from source. And source is just source. Source is the source of everything. So that is the first really important thing to understand. Because once you understand that, you're going to understand everything, right? Source is a
Okay.
creator. Source is the back creation of everything. So it might seem weird that I can say that I made of the same thing this book is made out of, right? Because it's in a different form, but it's true.
Mm.
It is what it is. And you can't actually take that away from that because what else is there? God is everything.
Right.
When we
Right.
have a baby, we could take it down to human. When we have a baby, we're recreating us. It's
Yes.
going to look different. It's going to have a different personality. But when it comes down to it, it's going to have like some of our DNA. We're going to have its DNA. It blends. Um, and then 10 generations from now, our kids are still going to have us in them, you know? Um, that's the best way I can explain it. It's hard to say, like, explain how, like, me and the book were one, but we are. The book actually was a tree at one point, too. And then when this book disintegrates, it's going to become dust, but nothing created ever disappears too. It just
Mm. It just changes form, right?
right.
Okay. So,
So,
so let me stop you there and ask maybe a question that would come from someone who is new at this, including me. Uh, when we talk about everything comes from one source and that we are all one, is the knowledge of that consistent with the idea that um, we are co-creators? Once we recognize that there is one source, everything comes from that first being, the spirit, and including us, and that's why we are so connected. And in our connection to the source, we co-create with spirit. Um, just everything that comes into being.
right,
So is that consistent with what you were saying about everything coming from source?
right. He's the back of everything. So now your thought process is right on part because the second stage of the prayer formula is unification. It's understanding that because we come from source, we are an expression of source energy or spirit. So that's why we say like source is in us, source is us. We're an expression of source, but we're expressing source in all our individualized ways. So
Yes.
it's we're all one, but we're all individualized. So source is experiencing life as Tiffany,
Yeah.
as and through Gwen. So that's the second stage of the prayer is one, acknowledging God is all there is. The second is I am one with God, and so is Gwen, because technically we're one too. So when Jesus says, I and the Father are one, that's
Hmm.
what he's talking about. So are we. I and the Father are we. Um, so the reason why these steps are important is because you're acknowledging and you're getting your head in the right place.
Hmm.
God is all there is. I am an expression of God. Myself and the Father are one. Me and God are one. And then so that's the unification where you're unifying yourself with God. You recognize God and who he is. Then unification, you're unifying yourself with God, meaning like I am God, not I am God. The Father and I are one, like Jesus says. The third
Yeah.
stage is realization. And that is, here's where your process is that God is love, therefore I am love. God is a creator, therefore I am creator. So remember, Jesus said, everything that I do, you could do too. It's because we are still all God. We're all
Yeah.
creators. So everything we say, everything we think, and we're going to go back to the Bible too, when it says, whether you say it or think it, it's all the same
Yes.
because the universal spirit hears our thoughts as well as our words. So when we speak into the universe, or you think into the universe, into the spirit always says yes. We're constantly creating. We are constantly creating. Everything we do, think, and say is we're creating. We create our world as we walk through it. Like everything is always creating because God's a creator. We all come from God. We're creating as we walk and go about things. So in this stage is when you intentionally create what you want to create
Yeah.
by acknowledging I am one with God. I am love. God is love. I am love. God is one infinite,
Infinite.
infinite. Yeah.
Infinite.
Mind is all wisdom. Your mind is the mind of God. And now I'm not saying our brain, by the way. There's a difference between our mind and our brain. And you know what I mean? But
Yes. Yes.
we
Yes.
have connection to the mind of God. So, and we are co-creators. So here's when you you put into the universe you put to the universe at this point, your your desire, your intention. So I'm trying to think of like I want a new house, you
Yeah.
know, place to live. And so then it's at this stage where I say, because I know that I am an expression of God, and God is all good, and God is all love, and God has all nothing but good for me. I'm claiming my good. I'm claiming this new house. And in that house, I'm going to cook for my children. I going to I'm going to have my beautiful garden. I can see my beautiful garden. I feel what it feels like. You got to bring in the emotion. I feel it with
Okay.
walk into my backyard from my beautiful yellow house and whatever, whatever your desire is, that's where that goes. So what you're doing right now is you're literally creating, you're putting into the universe your
Mm-hmm.
desire. The universe is going to say yes. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then you go into Thanksgiving. Thank you, universe. Thank you for providing, because I know that this is happening right now. Thank you for providing my new home. You've always provided for me. I've never
Mm-hmm.
without. You're always here. I know that I'm claiming my good. My good is my God. And then you release it. And with these words, I release to the universe, knowing that it is done. It is done. And I release from myself that I will see my new home. I messed that part up. But anyway, because where I was kind of messing up is you have to stay in the present. You,
Yeah.
so, I mean, have grace for me. I've only been in class for 4 weeks, whereas like this is a 3-year process to master this process.
Yeah.
Like before
Yeah.
you can get to um, a
A
practitioner, you have to,
practitioner. Yeah.
yeah, you have to take your test in front of a panel, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, the wording, your words are so important. You say one
Mm-hmm.
thing wrong, they'll know your consciousness is not there because it's your words will show your consciousness. And you got to take that last year over again.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's very rigid and strict, but I understand it. You need to have that discipline. But so,
Well,
um,
because
mm-hmm.
it's supposed to work every time. It works every time if you believe, if you're at the right consciousness. But we're not coming from there. We're coming from, I'm going through all the training, but we're coming from to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Life
Mm-hmm.
happens to me, then
Mm-hmm.
happens for me, then
Yeah.
life happens through me, and then um I am life or I am God. I am life is happening as me. The prayer is to be done as me. So at the highest level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you heal. That's when you do miracles. That's when things happen,
Mm-hmm.
like Jesus, so
Mm-hmm.
and you
So,
do it
go ahead.
do it for other people too. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're a practitioner, you're doing it for other people, not necessarily going to raise their consciousness, but your consciousness can be so high that it happens. I mean, they have to have some faith too, but Jesus knew that the people that he was working with didn't have the same conscious level that he had, that he was able to heal, but he always told them, your faith, your faith has healed you. Because
Mm-hmm.
whether the faith be they had it in themselves or if they had it in Jesus, it was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe that if you touch this candle a certain way and your consciousness says this is for sure going to help. If I touch this candle a certain way, money's going to come from heaven to me when I walk outside that door. And you fully believe that, that's exactly what's going to happen
That'll happen. Mm-hmm.
because you believe.
Mm-hmm. So, a couple of thoughts. The first is you shouldn't apologize for not having the right terminology or whatever, because we know that you're just, you're in class and you're learning. But the deal is what you're sharing with us is helping to elevate our nurturing of our spirituality, and we are further along because of where you are and what you're sharing than we would be otherwise. So I'm grateful for that, and hopefully those who are paying attention to this on a regular basis are grateful for that too. So don't apologize. We're grateful for what you're sharing with us. I guess several other thoughts had come through me that I wanted to uh, points that I wanted to make, but I guess one of the key things, and this is helping us to connect the dots with all that we have said up till now, right? We are talking about our connection with spirit and 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 this affirmative prayer is about basically, making that connection, but also sharing like what it is we believe and how we have to believe it deeply, right? It's got to be, I just want to reiterate some of the things that you were just saying and how it goes back to what we have said in previous episodes, how it has to be into your subconscious, right? Which is where all of these things can then manifest themselves. It's got to be deeply believed by you for this to happen. And so I wanted to kind of point that out from previous conversations. And then there was um, this idea of, people new to this might think, oh, so you're really talking about wishful thinking. And it's not about wishful thinking, is it?
No, it's not. It,
And
in
this
fact,
this this is hard because the other thing I wanted to say is how ego can get in the way, right? And that's, kind of keeps us would keep us separated, and this and what it is we are praying about won't manifest itself.
right. So, yes, it's not wishful thinking. And that's why the words are very important when you do it and to know where your consciousness level is.
Yeah.
That's why, as a practitioner, we go through years of training to get to the highest consciousness. But anyone can use these prayers, but you use it at your consciousness level because it is going to go based on what you truly, truly believe. Like we can mouth some things, but
Yeah.
if we say, "Oh, I want $1 million," but all of our consciousness is kind of going, I don't know how I'm going to get that. I don't know what to do with that. I don't, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like all that
Yeah.
happens instantly, right? So
Yeah.
with the prayer, you pray from a place of where you are and what you truly know.
What you truly know, what you know
Know
deep,
what you
right?
truly believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you work on your consciousness as you do it. I mean, that's why you have just like affirmations.
Yeah.
You say an affirmation enough, you are going to start believing it. If you act it out also, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you embody your
Oh.
action,
Mm-hmm.
you start
Mm-hmm.
changing from within.
Mm-hmm.
But your life is a reflection of who you are, where you are, what your thoughts are, and stuff like that as it is. So you can always look and see, like, do I love where I live right now? Do I love my job? Do I love, and if you're like, yes, it's because, and it's gonna be different parts to it, right? Because I can tell you
Sure.
what parts of my life I love right now. Um, and what part I don't. So when I look at the part that I don't, I kind of go, okay, what in my consciousness is causing this situation for me to be in that I don't love?
Mm-hmm.
And being honest with yourself like that is when you can do this prayer and it works because you have to acknowledge like what's not working, what in my consciousness is not working. Okay, so what would be the correction to that?
Mm.
And you want to pray in the realization part, you want to put into your, you know, your, what do they call it? Your
Because,
creative medium. They call it the
oh,
creative medium. I think that's the best way to say it. You can say spirit,
mm-hmm.
but it's the creative medium. So you put it into the creative medium and it's going to start creating right then and there, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So what we really want, everything, what we really want is going to come to us. But sometimes we're unconscious of what we really believe. So, because we can believe the things that we don't want. That's why that's important. If you're in a situation and you're like, I hate this situation, but it's only happening because there's something in you that it's working for. And so that's when you have to do your deep work and kind of go
Mm-hmm.
yourself and kind of go, how is this serving me? How is this situation serving me?
Yeah.
Then when you know that, then you do your prayer to change that situation, to acknowledge, like, okay, I thought this was serving me in this way, but I know there's other ways to achieve what I want. And then you put the other ways and a better way into that prayer. And then that's when it starts working. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
It does make sense. I'm listening to you and it's kind of sort of washing over me. I'm going to have to process this probably after this recording stops, but I'm following you. I'm following you. But the other thing that's coming to me is how difficult this is. I mean, this isn't easy, right? I mean,
Right.
because because you really have to get your consciousness at a state where you're really, truly, deeply feeling this, and like you said, even physically feeling it. But um, so the other thought that comes to mind to me is, like routinely, as part of my daily uh, getting my day started, I have these affirmations I keep talking about that I do every day. That's how I start my day, and and in one of them, I'll say something like I am abundant, like it's part of my one aspect of my life, right? But then I know deep down I'm not abundant. I'm okay, but I'm not abundant. And so I think that's probably what comes up because it is in my subconscious mind, right?
Your conscious says, no, I'm not because, but let's stick with that because a lot of people, that's their thing. They have
Yeah,
a perception of what abundance is.
exactly.
What their perception of what abundance is really just what they want more of what they have. We are abundant. Here's the truth to it. And you can put this in your prayer when praying for abundance. The truth is we are abundant. Even if you're in Haiti, you're still abundant. Source has given us such abundance. And technically, the only reason why we don't have everything we want is because we've allowed to give our power away to the powers that be that says you have
Mm-hmm.
you don't grow your food anymore, you have to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
the fact that what we don't have has nothing to do with source given us. We've chosen to live a certain way and to believe a certain way to not have the things that we have. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on, oh, we actually are abundant. You are abundant. And now
Mm-hmm.
look at that. You have children that love you. You have all the clothes you need. You might want more, but you have all the clothes you need. You have a roof on your head. You have all the food you need. We may be greedy. We may want more. We tend to have more than we have. I just sometimes want to just clear out my room and be like,
Yeah,
the reality is I'm overly abundant. I'm so abundant. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The truth is, there's things I want more. So that's when you have to be specific. Accept the fact I am freaking abundant. I actually have everything I need and
yeah,
then some. And
yeah.
then I want this new Mercedes. So I'm putting into the universe, I want this new Mercedes too. And it'll come to me. I don't need to know how.
Mm.
There's no reason why you can't ask for it. You just acknowledge I
Hmm.
am abundant. This is true. If I have all this, why can't I have that? I'm putting that into the universe. The universe always says yes.
Hmm.
Thank it. Thank you. I'm so excited about my new Mercedes. I actually, I'm putting it out there. I do, as I do love a Mercedes. I used to have it. And because I put this word into the universe, I
Yeah,
know it will happen. It will come true. It
yeah.
is true. It's in the
It
process
is
right
true.
now. Yes,
Hmm.
not will come. So that's the thing.
It's
And you don't say you don't say will, you don't, all these words are so specific that if when
yeah.
going through my panels, if I said will, they'd be like, you're not there yet. We'll see you next
Ah,
year.
oh, yeah. So that's a telltale sign. Oh my goodness. Yes. See, and that's why I say I know this is hard. This is
It's
hard.
high level, it is hard. And because I'm in the middle of all my training, when I speak now, I've noticed on on our video cast that
Hmm.
I am speaking at a high level that some people are just not going to understand. But
Hmm.
okay to seed. Like I
Yeah.
heard high level stuff plenty of times as I've been growing in the process. And sometimes when I'm speaking, like when I was explaining all that to you,
Yeah.
I was explaining it to me. It was
Yeah.
coming in, and I had to pause and be like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to call my teacher and be like, I get it."
Yeah, I understand that as you're explaining it to somebody else, then it becomes a lot more part of you. You have a deeper understanding too.
Yeah,
So we're all growing from this experience. We really are, and I love
right.
that idea too. That we're all, we're at different stages of this development, but we're all growing as we go through this. So what I got from this is that there are, so affirmative prayer is not about begging for something
Right.
and looking for the spirit to be your salvation for something. It's about you uh, recognizing your connection with the spirit and just and um, having such a deep recognition of that you are creating and you're sort of out picturing things that exist or yeah, hoping it to exist. And there are steps to this. And the first step is the understanding that God is all there is, the source is all there is. The
Recognition.
second, say that again.
Recognition. Yes.
Yes. And then the second step would be that, I guess, the unification, right? Me and God are one. We and God are one. We're all one.
Right.
Um, the third is about, what is it? Realization? Is that what it? Yes.
Yeah. It's called
Realization.
realization. Yeah.
Yeah. The fourth is the gratitude, right? Being thankful. And then the fifth is releasing this out into the universe. And then whatever it is will find its way to you.
Right. And you're like everyone says this in every faith. When you release it, don't you let it go. Don't bring it back. So you can pray for something multiple times. But every
Mhm.
time you pray, you release that prayer and let the universe work on it. Think of it as like you know you want a new home. And and then the next time you pray, you're actually drawing up the blueprint for it. And then the next time you pray,
Mhm.
you're adding furniture to it. You know what I mean? So you're just like making
Yes.
it out.
Yes. Yes.
You're
Yes.
not going like, oh, I said I want this and you didn't do it. Da da da. No, 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 because that's playing yo-yo. Because you're like, I
Yeah.
said I want this, and the universe is like, I'm getting it to you, but you didn't do it. The universe is like, don't do it, is what you're telling me. Then you just put up a block because
Yeah.
really what that is when you're like, you didn't do it, that's where they talk about blocks. That's where you are
You blocking
preventing,
that thing from
blocking it
happening.
from happening because
Yeah.
now your consciousness is something else. It's I
Hmm.
deserve it. I
Hmm.
don't, it's whatever is causing your block. And that's why this philosophy is so
Hmm.
much inner work. It's
Yes, it really is
inner
inner
work.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And so, and this is again coming from a novice at this, and so I probably is going to point up the fact that I haven't actually um, taken what we were just saying in altogether. But what I want to ask about is the focus on outcome and whether or not that is consistent with affirmative prayer, but also, having a deeper consciousness about our connection. Should we be focused on the outcome or should we be, because I think in our last recording, we were talking about in terms of integration or unification in our identity, that our identity needs to be that of our connection with source so that we shift our identity from this ego thing to, you know, I'm a I am source. I am whatever, the hands and feet of God. And then and I think in one of the readings that I did at our last recording was that you shift your identity such that you are one, so that you can say that I and God are one. And so the outcome takes care of itself. Like we don't have to focus on the outcome, I guess is
right?
what you know. So do you get what I'm
But
saying
we don't
here?
focus, we can focus on the outcome. You can focus on the desire. We don't have to focus on how it happens. We
On
don't have
how
to
it
be so
happens. Okay.
controlling of how it happens. We want to be open to however it happens. We want to be in
Okay.
to receive it however it happens because
Yeah.
there's that one saying that where someone's like they're stuck in the ocean and they're praying to God, God save me, and
Yeah.
by with the raft. If someone comes by with this and comes by, and but that person's head is like, no, it has to be this way. As
Ah.
humans, we do that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We do
Yeah.
that with everything. We do it all the time. Acknowledging that. That's why in classes they're like, when you pray for something, allow it to come however it needs to come. And
Okay.
that's the hard part.
So
Allow it
don't
to
get
come.
stuck on how it happens, just that it'll happen in any way that it,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
here's the funny thing. I noticed I brought up in class yesterday. I started my classes a year ago, kind of like a year ago from now.
Oh,
And with our very first class, my teacher told us to write ourselves a letter and give it to him, and he'll mail it back to us at some point when he feels spirit says we're ready. But we're
oh,
writing a letter to ourselves about what we want or who we will be at a certain point in time. So I
oh, I
did
like
that.
that exercise.
Um, my teacher recently mailed me back the letter like a month and a half ago.
Oh,
And when I
oh,
opened it, I was like, oh, my consciousness level has grown so much that what I put in that letter, I did receive, but
mm,
I received it for a short amount of time because it was no longer fit my blueprint of who I am. It no longer fit in my life. It no longer fit what I
oh,
wanted or anything. And I
mm,
just, when I opened it, I just laughed. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, that
yeah,
was a big deal for me then. But now with all my teachings, I know how much more I deserve. I know how much more I can have. I know how much more I control of what I have.
mm,
So, so we talked about this in class too. So a safeguard against limiting yourself when you're like, I really want this relationship.
hmm.
You add or better. I really want a new car. I want my Mercedes and I want this luxury and you know what you want. So and put, I want this or better. Don't limit
Yeah,
yourself in your prayers. We're
yeah,
God creators. We're creators. So whatever we put in there happens. Have you ever did a vision board and like forget about it and look at it 2 years later and be like, oh, all that happened.
yeah. I haven't done a vision board, but that came to mind as you were talking earlier. I meant to bring that up because for a while there, people were into visioning, and vision boards, and this seems to be in line with that. I haven't done it, but no, I know what you're saying. But
Yeah,
what a great exercise for your teacher to do, to have you write a letter early on in your classes and as you're, a nascent at this, and then at some point send it back to you and you can look at it and you don't have to get sort of confirmation from him, but it would be nice. But you can see yourself how much you have grown over
yeah.
the period of months. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's actually a good thing. I think I'm going to do it to myself again. I think I'm going to write myself a letter and just put it someplace for like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
five
And then,
months or
yeah.
so and do like 5 month check-in. Who was I then? Who
Yeah.
am I now? It's pretty
And
cool.
just
Yeah.
see how much um you've been elevated in terms of your consciousness.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Um, back to like the vision board. I remember years ago when I first started real estate, and it wasn't a vision board, but the teacher made us write down our wishes, like 10
oh,
things that we hope to achieve in the next year, and
hmm.
then put it away. So I did it. I put it away, completely forgot about it. We had moved, and in the process of moving and unpacking, I found this. I found the letter and I
Mm,
opened it and I was like, oh, all this happened and I
mm.
need to be more detailed. That was my
Yeah.
main. I was like, I want a new house. I want a new car. I want da. Well, I got all of it, but I was like, I wouldn't have chosen a minivan. I don't want, what I mean? Let me be more specific about the type
Be
of car.
very specific about what
Yeah.
you asked for, huh?
The house, we did, we got a new house, but if I realized how this worked, and I still know
Mm,
I'm not specific enough, but if I realized how this worked, I would be a lot more specific. And it actually says it here in my notes from class. It said describe, let's just say if you're looking for a job, describe the job and everything around it, particularly
mm,
the feeling level to da, 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 but to ensure that it comes in that way because I also did a vision board and there was a time when I was like really in my head imagining getting married and there was this one picture of this girl, she's this beautiful dress and she was at an event. In my head I was thinking I was doing it like, oh, that's me getting married in this beautiful dress. A
mhm.
year after that vision board, um I looked at it and I was like, oh man, I went to a Grammy party, so I got to get really dressed up
Yeah.
because I didn't have a man in that picture with me. And I had a picture that very similarly looks like that vision board in my beautiful dress overlooking. I was like, oh, see, I got to be more specific.
So you think it was the Grammy dress is what you were seeing in that picture. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because I would look at it, it's beautiful, and just what my subconscious is like, you're going to get dressed up and be at a party one day.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, this is so encouraging though. I mean, I could, that we do have that co-creator ability within us and
Right,
working, having, the recognition that spirit is there and that we can co-create our lives. And using affirmative prayer is one of the techniques that we can use to co-create the life that we want to live.
right,
Yeah. And it's not about wishful thinking and it's not easy. It requires a lot of inner work. But I hope people who are listening to this will be inspired because that's what we're here to do. And we'll try some of these techniques and we want to hear about them. So, use the comment section below this video to write in what your experiences have been, as you are picking up on some of on the topics that we're talking about and using some of the techniques that we are sharing with you. And tell us what the results have been, and how have you grown? So we'd love to hear from you and maybe even invite you on to share that with the rest of the community. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and what you'll get from it is a notification whenever we post any new recordings that we make, any new episodes or installments. So you want to press that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these. Anyway, this has been invigorating, this conversation. I really feel good about it, knowing that I could co-create the life that I want to live using affirmative prayer. That was our topic. So, on behalf of Tiffany Lee, I'm Gwendolyn Flynn. We will see you next time.